7 years ago, in a cramped apartment in Seoul, two people who loved each other made the worst decision of their lives. Amale sat on the edge of their bed, holding one crying baby while another wailed in the bassinet. Her scholarship money was gone. Her dream of becoming an illustrator felt like a joke now. She hadn't slept more than 3 hours in weeks. Seung-hyun stood by the window, his reflection hollow. His startup had failed. Again. He'd borrowed money from people he couldn't pay back. Every job interview ended the same way. Too educated, too desperate, too distracted. "We can't keep doing this," she whispered. I know. Neither of them was cruel. Neither wanted to hurt the other. But exhaustion makes people do things they never imagined. The divorce papers were signed on a Tuesday. The custody agreement was simple. Brutal, but simple. Each parent would take one son, no contact. Clean break, move forward. Amale took Lethabo. Seung-hyun took Ji-ho. They told themselves it was fair. They were wrong. Now, 7 years later, everything was about to explode. The summer camp outside Seoul was the kind of place wealthy parents sent their kids to make connections. Amale had saved for 8 months to afford it. She wanted Lethabo to have opportunities, to make friends, to see a world bigger than their small apartment in Itaewon. Lethabo bounced on his toes as they walked through the camp gates. He had his mother's warm brown skin and his father's sharp eyes. Though Amale tried not to think about that second part. "Mom, do you think they'll have archery? I really want to try archery." The brochure said they have everything. Archery, swimming, art classes. "Art like you?" She smiled and ruffled his hair. "Maybe even better than me." Impossible. Across the registration area, a black car pulled up. Not flashy, but the kind that didn't need to be. The driver opened the door, and a small boy stepped out, wearing clothes too neat for a summer camp. He carried a single backpack and looked at the other excited children like he was studying a different species. Ji-ho had learned early that showing excitement led to disappointment. His father was always busy. The people his father hired to watch him were always temporary. Nothing stayed. "Your father's said to call if there's an emergency," the driver said. "Okay. Do you have everything?" "Yes." The driver hesitated, like he wanted to say something kind, then just nodded and left. Ji-ho walked toward registration alone. Lethabo was still chattering to his mother when she knelt down, eye level with him. "You're going to have so much fun. And I'll be here to pick you up in 2 weeks. 2 weeks is forever. It'll go fast. You'll see." She hugged him tight, breathing in the smell of the shea butter she put in his hair every morning. When she finally let go, her eyes were wet. "Mom, are you crying?" "No. I just got something in my eye." "Both eyes," she laughed. "Go, make trouble, but not too much." He grinned and ran toward the crowd of kids. Amale watched until he disappeared into the group. Then she turned and left before he could see her actually cry. She didn't notice the other boy, the one with the same face as her son, standing 20 feet away. The first 2 days of camp were chaos in the best way. Lethabo made friends immediately. He always did. By lunch on day 1, he knew everyone's name in his cabin. Ji-ho stayed quiet. He was good at that. He answered when counselors asked him questions, participated in activities when required. But he didn't push himself into groups. He'd learned that wanting things too much made it hurt more when they disappeared. It was day 3 during outdoor games when it happened. The counselors had divided everyone into teams for capture the flag. Kids were running everywhere, shouting, laughing. Lethabo was in the middle of the chaos, naturally. He was racing toward the boundary line when he saw someone across the field. A boy. Standing near the blue team's flag. A boy with his face. Lethabo stopped running so fast he nearly fell over. The other boy, Jiho, was frozen too. Around them, kids kept playing, but several started to notice. One girl actually screamed. A counselor blew a whistle, confused about what was happening. Slowly, both boys walked toward each other. The entire field went quiet. They stood 2 feet apart, staring. Lethabo spoke first. "Why do you look like me?" Jiho's brain was trying to make sense of what he was seeing. "Why do you look like me?" I asked first. "That doesn't make it more important." The counselor rushed over. "Boys, what's up?" She looked between them. Her mouth opened, but no sound came out. Another counselor joined her. "Is this a prank? Are they related?" "They're in different cabins, different registration forms." More kids crowded around now, whispering, pointing. Lethabo tilted his head, studying the other boy. "What's your name?" "Jiho, Cha Jiho." "I'm Lethabo, Lethabo Dlamini." Different last names. That should have been a relief to the counselors, but it explained nothing about the identical faces. "How old are you?" Jiho asked. 7. I turned 7 in April." Jiho's eyes widened just slightly. "April 23rd? Lethabo's mouth fell open. "How did you know that?" "Because that's my birthday, too." The camp director was called. Parents would need to be notified. This was irregular. Possibly a system error. Maybe they were twins separated at... No, that was ridiculous. This was real life, not a movie. But protocol required calls home. Except when they checked the files, one parent was listed as unreachable during business hours. CEO, always in meetings. The other parent, the mother, they'd try her after the kids were settled. The camp director decided not to panic anyone yet. Maybe it was an incredible coincidence. Maybe they were cousins. Genetics could be strange. "Boys, let's get you both to the office," she said in her kindest voice. But Lethabo and Jiho weren't listening to her. They were still staring at each other, and something was clicking into place. Something huge. If you're enjoying this story so far, do me a favor. Drop a comment and let me know what you think is going to happen next. I read every single one of them, and your theories honestly make my day. Stick around, because this is just the beginning, and trust me, it gets wild. The camp director separated them temporarily, which both boys hated immediately. She said it was just until they figured out what was going on. But Lethabo felt like he'd just found something important, and now someone was taking it away. Jiho felt something he rarely let himself feel. Curious. No, more than curious. Desperate to understand. That night, after lights out, Lethabo snuck out of his cabin. He'd seen which cabin Jiho went into earlier. He was good at remembering things like that. He crept across the dark grass, avoiding the counselor doing rounds, and tapped on the window. A face appeared. His face. Jiho opened the window without hesitating. "We need to talk," Lethabo whispered. "I know. Can you get out?" Jiho glanced back at his sleeping cabin mates, then climbed through the window like he'd done it 100 times. They sat behind the arts and crafts building where no one could see them. For a minute, neither spoke. Then Lethabo said, "This is really weird." "Agreed. Do you think we're related?" "We have the same face and the same birthday. Statistically, the odds of that being coincidence are nearly impossible." Lethabo blinked. "You talk like a textbook. You talk like a game show host. Is that an insult?" I'm not sure yet. Lethabo grinned. He decided he liked this serious boy who looked like him. Okay, let's figure this out. Tell me everything. Where do you live? Seoul, Hanam-dong. I live in Seoul too, Itaewon. Who do you live with? My mom. Just us. You? Ji-ho hesitated. My father and staff. He's busy a lot. What about your mom? I don't have one. Lethabo frowned. Everyone has a mom. I meant I don't know her. My father never talks about her. Something clicked in Lethabo's brain. I don't know my dad. My mom never talks about him either. The boys looked at each other. What's your mom's name? Ji-ho asked. Amali Delamini. She's from South Africa originally. Ji-ho's heart started beating faster. Does she draw? Like, for work? Lethabo's eyes went huge. How do you know that? Because I've seen drawings in my house, old ones. My father keeps them in a drawer in his office. I found them once when I was little. They're signed A.D. What's your dad's name? Cha Sung-hyun. The name meant nothing to Lethabo, but the pieces were coming together too perfectly to ignore. Do you have any pictures of yourself as a baby? Lethabo asked. Only from when I was about 2 or older. You? Same. Mom says the earlier photos were lost when we moved. They sat in silence, and the truth hung between them like something alive. We're brothers, Ji-ho said quietly. Twins, Lethabo corrected. But why would they separate us? Lethabo didn't have an answer. It didn't make sense. None of it made sense. Do you think they know? Like, does your dad know about me? Ji-ho thought about his father. Distant, always working, never talking about the past. Maybe. I don't know. My mom never mentioned you. Not once. What do we do? Lethabo's face hardened with determination. We figure out the truth, and then we fix this. Fix what? Whatever broke our family. Over the next 3 days, the boys became inseparable. The camp staff noticed, but didn't stop it. They'd tried calling both parents multiple times. The mother's phone went to voicemail. The father's assistant said he was in back-to-back investor meetings and couldn't be disturbed. So the boys had time. They compared everything. Baby pictures, the few they each had. The same birthmark on their left shoulder blade. The same weird double-jointed thumb. The same recurring dream about water and someone singing. My mom sings that song, Lethabo said, every night before bed. I've never heard anyone sing it out loud. I just dream it. That made Lethabo inexplicably sad. On day 5, Lethabo had an idea. We should switch places. Ji-ho looked up from the puzzle they were working on. What? Switch. You come home with my mom, I'll go home with your dad. Just to see what it's like. Just for a day. That's insane. You're the one who said the odds of us being coincidence are impossible. If we're really twins, we should know what the other person's life is like. Ji-ho wanted to say no. It was reckless. But a part of him, the part that had been lonely for 7 years, desperately wanted to meet the woman who sang the song from his dreams. One day, he agreed. They planned it carefully. Ji-ho would go home with Amahali, and when she picked up Lethabo for the weekend visit that parents were allowed, Lethabo would go back to the mansion with Seung-hyun's driver. The boys looked identical, but their mannerisms were different. So they taught each other. Lethabo showed Ji-ho how to smile bigger, how to talk with his hands, how to hug freely. Ji-ho showed Lethabo how to stand straighter, how to answer questions with fewer words, how to keep his face neutral. Why do you do that? Lethabo asked. The neutral face thing. Because if you don't react, People can't tell they've hurt you. Lethabo stared at his brother. Has your dad hurt you? Not on purpose. He's just never there. My mom's always there. Sometimes I wish she'd give me more space, but mostly it's nice. Jiho didn't say anything, but Lethabo could see it in his eyes. Longing. Saturday came. Amale arrived at the camp early, excited to see her son. She'd missed him terribly. The apartment felt too quiet without him. Jiho, pretending to be Lethabo, saw her walking toward him and felt his breath catch. She was beautiful, warm, the kind of person who looked like she gave good hugs. Lethabo! She rushed over and pulled him into her arms. Jiho stood stiffly for half a second, then slowly put his arms around her. She smelled like cocoa butter and something sweet he couldn't name. I missed you so much, she said, pulling back to look at him. Did you have fun? Tell me everything. It was good, he said, trying to remember to be more expressive. I made a friend. Just one? That's not like you. Panic flashed through him, but he recovered. I mean, lots of friends, but one special one. She smiled and took his hand. Hers was soft and warm, and she didn't let go the entire walk to the car. Jiho had never held anyone's hand like this before. At the mansion, Sung-hyun's driver picked up Lethabo without much conversation. The man was professional, polite, but not warm. Lethabo sat in the back seat and watched the city change as they drove. Bigger buildings, cleaner streets, quieter neighborhoods. When they pulled up to the house, Lethabo's jaw dropped. He'd known Jiho's father was wealthy, but this was something else. The house was massive, modern, cold-looking but impressive. A woman met them at the door. Not old, but not young either. She wore an apron. Welcome home, Jiho. Are you hungry? A little, Lethabo said carefully. I'll prepare a snack. Your father won't be home until late. How late? She looked surprised by the question. I'm not sure. He didn't say. Lethabo wandered through the house after eating. It was beautiful. Everything was perfectly placed. Nothing was messy or broken or worn down. But it felt empty. He found Jiho's room and sat on the bed. There were books organized by size, a desk with neat drawers, toys that looked barely used. No drawings on the walls, no mess, no life. Across the city, Jiho was experiencing the opposite. Amali's apartment was small, really small compared to what he was used to. But every surface had something on it. Drawings, plants, books stacked in piles, a blanket draped over the couch. Sorry about the mess, Amale said, though she didn't sound that sorry. I was working on a commission and lost track of time. She showed him her latest illustration, a children's book about a lion who was afraid of the dark. What do you think? Too scary? Jiho studied it carefully. The shadows are good. They're dark but not mean-looking. She looked at him strangely. That's a very specific observation. He panicked again. I just mean, it's good. She smiled and ruffled his hair. Lethabo's hair. It was in small twists today, and she checked them carefully. These are holding up okay. We'll redo them tomorrow. Jiho had no idea what she was talking about, but nodded. Dinner was the biggest difference. At the mansion, Lethabo ate alone at a table big enough for 12 people. The housekeeper brought him food and asked if he needed anything, then disappeared. He'd never felt more lonely while eating. At the apartment, Amale cooked while asking Jiho about camp. She actually listened to his answers. She laughed at things he said. She told him about her week, about a difficult client, about a neighbor's cat that kept sneaking onto their balcony. Why do you think he does that? Ji-ho asked. The cat? Yeah. I think he's lonely. His owner works all the time. Ji-ho looked down at his plate. Are you okay, baby? No one had ever called him baby before. I'm fine, he said quietly. After dinner, she washed dishes and he dried them without being asked. She seemed surprised, but pleased. Then she said the words that broke something open in his chest. Bath time, then story, then bed. Sound good? Ji-ho nodded. The bath was normal. But after, when he was in borrowed pajamas that smelled like lavender detergent, she sat on the edge of the bed. Which book tonight? He glanced at the stack near the bed. You choose? She picked one about a boy who built a rocket ship from cardboard. Her voice was soothing as she read. She did different voices for different characters. She stopped to ask if he understood certain words. When she finished, she closed the book and just looked at him. I really did miss you, she said softly. I missed you too, he whispered, and he wasn't pretending anymore. She kissed his forehead, then his cheek, then his nose. Sweet dreams, my love. She turned off the light, but left the door cracked open. Ji-ho lay in the dark and felt tears slide down his face. He didn't know you could miss something you'd never had. At the mansion, Lethabo waited for someone to come say goodnight. The housekeeper poked her head in at 9. Do you need anything before I go to my room? Is my dad home yet? Not yet. Oh, okay. Good night, Ji-ho. Good night. She closed the door fully. Lethabo stared at the ceiling in the dark and understood exactly why his brother had agreed to this switch. The next morning, the boys traded back at camp and immediately found each other. Well? Lethabo asked. Ji-ho didn't answer right away. His eyes were red like maybe he'd been crying. Your mom is incredible. Lethabo smiled sadly. Yeah, she is. And softer. Your dad never came home. I know. He usually doesn't on weekends. You're there alone? The staff is there. That's not the same. I know. They sat together, processing. Finally, Lethabo said what they were both thinking. We have to fix this. How? I don't know yet. But we can't go back to how things were. You need a mom. I need a dad. And we need each other. They separated us on purpose. What if they don't want to fix it? Lethabo's jaw set with determination that reminded Ji-ho of himself when he was solving a hard problem. Then we make them want to. But before they could plan anything else, the counselor rushed over to them. Boys, we need you to come to the director's office right now. They exchanged worried looks and followed her. In the office, the camp director sat at her computer, looking stressed. Boys, I need to ask you something and I need you to be honest. Are you related? Why? Ji-ho asked carefully. She turned the computer screen toward them. It showed a photo. The camp's official photographer had taken it 2 days ago during arts and crafts. Both boys were in the frame, laughing at something, their faces identical, their expressions mirrored. The camp had posted it on their social media page that morning as part of their weekly parent update. It had 17,000 shares in 3 hours. The comments were exploding. Is this Photoshop? These kids look exactly alike. Wait, isn't that Cha Sung-hyun's son? I saw him at a company event last year. Who's the other kid? This has to be fake. Are they twins? Someone find out who these kids are. The director looked at them seriously. We need to call your parents. Both of them, right now. Lethabo grabbed Ji-ho's hand under the desk. Everything was about to change. The camp director dialed Amali's number first. It rang 4 times before she picked up. Hello? Miss Delamony? This is Director Kim from Sunshine Summer Camp. We have a situation that requires your immediate attention. Amale's heart dropped. Is Lethabo hurt? No, nothing like that. But we need you to come to the camp as soon as possible. There's been a development. What kind of development? Director Kim glanced at the boys, who were watching her with wide eyes. It's better if we discuss this in person. How soon can you be here? I'm in Seoul, so maybe an hour. Can you please tell me what's going on? 1 hour's fine. We'll see you then. She hung up before Amale could ask more questions. Next, she called the number on file for Cha Ji-ho's father. It went straight to an assistant. Mr. Cha's office. How may I help you? This is Director Kim from Sunshine Summer Camp. I need to speak with Mr. Cha immediately regarding his son. Mr. Cha is in a board meeting. Is the child injured? No, but this is urgent. I'll pass along the message, but he won't be available for at least 2 hours. This can't wait 2 hours. I'm sorry, but unless there's a medical emergency, I can't interrupt him. Director Kim hung up, frustrated. She looked at the boys. Your mother is on her way, she said to Lethabo. Then to Ji-ho, your father's assistant will give him the message. He won't come, Ji-ho said quietly. I'm sure he will once he understands the situation. He won't, Ji-ho repeated, and Lethabo squeezed his hand tighter. While they waited, the photo continued to spread. A celebrity gossip site picked it up, then a news outlet, then another. By the time Amale's car pulled through the camp gates, Cha Sung-yeon's secret twin sons was trending on 3 different platforms. Amale had no idea. She didn't spend much time on social media. She was too busy working and raising her son. She walked into the camp office with her purse clutched tight, worried and confused. Then she saw Lethabo sitting next to another boy, an identical boy. Her purse hit the floor. Mom? Lethabo stood up, but Amale couldn't move. She was staring at the other child, the one with her son's face, the one she'd held for exactly 4 months before the worst day of her life. Ji-ho, she whispered. The boy stood up slowly. You know my name? Her eyes filled with tears. Of course I know your name. I gave it to you. Director Kim stepped forward. Ms. Delamony, I think we need to sit down and talk about what's happening here. But Amale wasn't listening. She was moving toward Ji-ho like someone in a dream. She knelt down in front of him, her hands shaking. You've gotten so big, she said, voice breaking. Ji-ho stared at this woman who looked at him like he mattered, like he was something precious. You're my mom? Yes, baby, I'm your mom. But I live with my dad. I've always lived with my dad. I know, and I'm so sorry. Lethabo came and stood next to his brother. Mom, what's going on? Why didn't you tell me I had a brother? Amale looked between her 2 sons, and the weight of 7 years crashed down on her. It's complicated. That's what adults say when they don't want to tell the truth, Lethabo said. She almost laughed, but it came out as a sob instead. You're right. You're absolutely right. She took a shaky breath. Your father and I, we got divorced when you were both very small. We thought it would be easier if we each took one of you. We were young and stupid and wrong. You separated us on purpose? Ji-ho asked. Yes? Why? Because we were tired and scared and we couldn't figure out how to be married to each other anymore. And instead of being brave enough to fix it, We ran away from everything, including our responsibility to keep you two together. The room was silent, except for the sound of Amale crying. Lethabo hugged her. He was mad, but she was still his mom and she was hurting. Jiho stood frozen, unsure what to do. Then Director Kim's phone rang. She glanced at the screen and her face went pale. "It's a reporter from Channel 8 News." "Don't answer it," Amale said quickly. "Ms. Dlamini, I think you should know that a photo of the boys was posted on our camp's social media page. It's been shared quite a lot." "How much is quite a lot?" "Over 50,000 times in the last 4 hours." Amale felt sick. "And several of the comments have identified Jiho as Cha Sung-hyun's son." "Of course they have," Amale said bitterly. "He's famous now, rich and successful and perfect. You know Mr. Cha? I was married to him." Director Kim sat down hard in her chair. Before anyone could say anything else, there was a commotion outside. Voices, camera shutters. Director Kim looked out the window, and her face went even paler. "There are reporters at the gate." "Already?" Amale stood up, panic rising. "This is Cha Sung-hyun we're talking about. His company just went public last year. He's one of the most eligible bachelors in Seoul. Of course they're already here. I need to get my sons out of here." "Both of them?" Amale looked at Jiho. "Yes, both of them. I'm not leaving either of my children here for reporters to harass." "But Mr. Cha hasn't even been contacted yet." "Then contact him. Tell him his ex-wife is taking both of his sons somewhere safe, and if he wants to discuss it, he can call me himself." She wrote her number on a piece of paper with shaking hands. Director Kim made another call to Sung-hyun's office. This time, she made it clear that this was an actual emergency, and if Mr. Cha wanted to avoid a bigger scandal, he needed to call immediately. Then Amale did something she hadn't done in 7 years. She held both of her sons' hands and walked them out a back exit while reporters shouted questions from the front gate. Sung-hyun was in the middle of a presentation when his assistant finally interrupted. Everyone in the boardroom looked annoyed. Sung-hyun never allowed interruptions. "This better be urgent," he said quietly. His assistant leaned in and whispered, "It's about your son. There's a situation." He was out of his chair immediately. "What happened? Is he hurt?" "No, but you need to see something." She showed him her phone, the photo, the comments, the news articles already being written. Sung-hyun's carefully controlled expression cracked. "Where is he?" The camp director said a woman picked him up. Both boys, actually. "Both boys." "Sir, the other child in the photo? He looks exactly like Jiho because he's his twin brother." Sung-hyun sat down slowly. "The woman who picked them up is named Amale Dlamini. She says she's your ex-wife." He hadn't heard that name spoken out loud in 7 years. "She left a number for you to call." Sung-hyun took the phone with numb fingers and stepped out of the boardroom. He dialed. It rang twice. "Hello?" Her voice. He'd forgotten how it sounded. No, that was a lie. He remembered every single thing about her and had spent 7 years trying to forget. "Amala?" Silence on the other end. Then, Sung-hyun. "Where's my son?" "Both of our sons are safe. They're with me." "You can't just take him." "I absolutely can. You weren't there. You're never there. And reporters were swarming the camp. Because of a photo you had no right to let be taken." "I didn't know about the photo until an hour ago. But yes, the world now knows that you have 2 identical sons, and they're asking questions. Questions we're going to have to answer." "We don't have to answer anything. This is private." It stopped being private the second that, Photo hit 30,000 shares, and it stopped being just your decision the moment I found out my other son has been living without me for 7 years. Her voice cracked on that last part. Seung-hyun closed his eyes. Where are you? Somewhere safe. I need an address, Amal. No. No. Not until we talk, really talk, about what we did and how we fix this. There's nothing to fix. We had an agreement. Our agreement was cruel, and those boys just found out they have a twin brother they never knew about. If you think there's nothing to fix, you're even more heartless than I thought. That stung more than it should have. I want to see Ji-ho. Then meet me, alone. Tomorrow morning, I'll text you the address. Amale. Tomorrow, Seung-hyun. Give me one night with both of my sons. You've had 7 years with one of them. She hung up. Seung-hyun stood in the empty hallway and felt his perfect controlled life falling apart. His phone buzzed. A text from his publicist. We have a problem. Call me now. Then another text from his mother. I'm seeing very strange things online about Ji-ho. What's going on? Then another. From someone he definitely didn't want to hear from right now. Han So-ra, his fiancée. We need to talk. This is a disaster. He turned his phone off. At Amali's apartment, chaos of a different kind was unfolding. Both boys sat on the small couch, squeezed together, still holding hands. Amali was making them food because she didn't know what else to do with her shaking hands. Mom, Lethabo called. We're not hungry. We need answers. She brought over 3 cups of juice anyway, and sat in the chair across from them. Ask me anything. Why did you and Dad get divorced? Lethabo asked. Amali chose her words carefully. We loved each other very much, but we got married too young, and when things got hard, we didn't know how to ask for help. We were both too proud and too scared. Scared of what? Ji-ho asked quietly. Scared of failing. Scared of not being enough. Scared that love wasn't going to be enough to pay bills or stop us from being tired all the time. So you gave up, Lethabo said. Yes, we gave up, and that's something I'll regret for the rest of my life. Did you ever try to see me? Ji-ho asked, and his voice was so small. Amali's heart shattered. No, baby, and that's the worst thing I've ever done. We made an agreement that we wouldn't contact each other. We thought it would be easier. Easier for who? For us, the adults. We didn't think about what it would do to you. That's really selfish, Lethabo said. You're absolutely right. Ji-ho was quiet for a moment. Then, do you even want me here? Amali got up and knelt in front of him. I have wanted you here every single day for 7 years. I have missed you every single morning when I woke up, and every single night before I went to sleep. There is not a drawing I've made, not a meal I've cooked, not a moment I've lived that I haven't thought about you and wondered if you were okay. Tears ran down Ji-ho's face. You are my son. You've always been my son. And if you let me, I will spend the rest of my life making up for the time we lost. He fell into her arms and sobbed. Lethabo joined them, and the 3 of them cried together on the floor of the small apartment. Outside, the sun was setting on the worst and best day of their lives. Across the city, Seung-hyun sat in his office and ignored 12 calls from his publicist. He pulled open the bottom drawer of his desk, the one he never opened. Inside was a folder. He took out the contents slowly. Drawings. Beautiful, detailed drawings of buildings and gardens, and one of him sleeping on their terrible second-hand couch. All signed A.D. Under the drawings was a photo, their wedding day. City Hall. No fancy dress, no expensive suit. Just two kids who thought love was all they needed. Amale was laughing at something he'd said. He was looking at her like she was the only person in the world. He traced her face in the photo. What did we do? He whispered to the empty room. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Meet me at Hangang Park, near the Bampo Bridge. 10 a.m. Come alone. It was her. He texted back one word. Okay. Then he sat in his office until midnight, staring at drawings from a lifetime ago. The next morning, reporters were camped outside Amale's apartment building. She'd expected it. So she'd already arranged for the boys to stay with her friend across the hall. A woman named Thandiwe, who'd also moved from South Africa and understood complicated situations. Keep them inside. Don't answer the door for anyone, Amale said. You're going to meet him? Thandiwe asked. I have to. Do you want me to tell you he's gotten ugly over the years? Would that help? Amale smiled despite her nerves. Is he ugly? I looked him up online. He's unfortunately very handsome. Rich people age differently. That's not helpful. You're beautiful too. Don't forget that. Amale left through the building's back entrance and took 3 different buses to make sure no one followed her. She got to the park 20 minutes early and waited on a bench near the water. At exactly 10 a.m., she saw him. He looked the same. No, that wasn't true. He looked like an expensive version of the boy she'd married. Better clothes, better haircut, better everything. But his eyes were the same. He sat down on the bench, leaving 2 feet of space between them. For a long minute, neither spoke. Then Seung-hyun said, You kept your last name. You thought I'd take yours back after we divorced? I meant Dlamini. I thought you might have remarried. No time for that. I was too busy raising our son alone and working 3 jobs to keep us fed. The accusation in her voice was clear. I would have sent money if you'd asked. I didn't want your money. I wanted you to be a father. I am a father. She turned to look at him fully. Are you? Because Ji-ho told me you're never home, that staff raise him, that he eats dinner alone every night. Seung-hyun's jaw tightened. I'm building a company, providing for his future. He doesn't need a future. He needs a present. He needs a parent who shows up. Like you showed up for him the last 7 years? The words hit like a slap. Amale stood up. You're right. I didn't show up. I agreed to something horrible because I was young and broken, and I thought I was doing the right thing. But I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. What does that mean? It means I want joint custody, real custody. Both boys deserve both parents. You can't just decide that. Watch me. I'll go to court if I have to. You'll lose. I have resources you can't imagine. She laughed bitterly. Of course you do. You have everything now, don't you? The company, the money, the perfect life. My life is not perfect. No. Then why does every article I read call you Seoul's most eligible bachelor? He stood up too. I'm engaged. The world tilted. What? I'm engaged. To Han So-ra. We've been together for 8 months. Amale felt like she'd been punched. You're getting remarried. Yes. Does she know about me? About Lethabo? She knew I had been married briefly. She knew about Ji-ho. She didn't know about his twin because I didn't know you'd kept him. I didn't keep him. We each took 1 son. That was the agreement. An agreement I'm starting to realize was the worst decision I've ever made. They stared at each other. We can't undo it, Amale said quietly, but we can stop making it worse. What do you want? I want my sons to know each other. I want them to have both parents. I want us to figure out how to co-parent like actual adults instead of strangers. So-ra won't like this. I don't care what So-ra likes. This isn't about her. She's going to be Ji-ho's stepmother. Then she better get used to the fact that he has a brother and I'm not disappearing. Seung-hyun ran a hand through his hair, frustrated. This is complicated. It's only complicated because we made it complicated. The solution is actually simple. We put our sons first. I've always put Ji-ho first. No, you've put your company first and convinced yourself it was for him. Before he could respond, both their phones buzzed. A news alert. Breaking. Billionaire CEO Cha Seung-hyun's secret past revealed. Twin sons from hidden marriage? Below it was another photo. This one of Amale leaving her apartment building this morning. The caption read, "Mystery woman identified as a Mahaled Lamini, South African illustrator and alleged ex-wife." How did they find me? Amale whispered. Seung-hyun's phone rang. His publicist. He answered. What? Where are you? We have a situation. So-ra is doing a press conference in 30 minutes. She's what? She called reporters to your office building. She's going to make a statement about the scandal. Tell her to cancel it. I tried. She's not listening to me. Seung-hyun hung up and looked at Amale. We need to go. Now. Go where? To stop my fiancé from making this worse. Hey, quick question. Do you think Seung-hyun still has feelings for Amale? Or is it really over between them? Drop your thoughts below because I love hearing what you think. And stick with me. This story is about to get even more intense. They took Seung-hyun's car. A driver was waiting nearby. Amale felt strange sitting in the expensive vehicle. It smelled like leather and money. This is weird, she muttered. What is? This, you, all of it. 7 years ago, we were eating instant noodles for dinner. Now you have a driver. Things change. Clearly. They rode in tense silence until they were 5 minutes from his office building. Then Seung-hyun said, I'm sorry. Amale looked at him, surprised. For what specifically? There's a lot to choose from. For all of it. For giving up. For agreeing to split them up. For not fighting harder. I gave up too. We both did. I know. But I was the one who suggested it first. The separation. She'd forgotten that. Or maybe she'd tried to forget it. Why did you? She asked quietly. Because I couldn't stand watching you suffer. You were so sad all the time. I thought it was because of me. It was because I was exhausted. Because we were kids trying to do adult things with no help and no money and no plan. I thought you'd be happier without me. Were you happier without me? He didn't answer, which was an answer itself. They pulled up to his office building, and there was chaos. Reporters everywhere, cameras, lights. And standing on a small platform in front of the building's entrance was Han So-ra. She was beautiful, polished, perfect hair, perfect makeup, perfect outfit. Everything Amale wasn't. Amale suddenly felt very aware of her second-hand jacket and worn shoes. So-ra was mid-sentence when they arrived. I want to make it absolutely clear that Seung-hyun and I are still very much together and very much in love. These rumors about some past relationship are just that. Rumors. Yes, he was briefly married many years ago, but that was before he became the man he is today. Before he built his company, before he became successful. That past has nothing to do with our future. Amale felt her temper rise. That past has 2 children in it. Seung-hyun grabbed her arm. Don't, not here. But it was too late. A reporter had heard her. Cameras swung in their direction. "Miss Dlamini, is it true you are married to Mr. Cha? Miss Dlamini, do you have custody of one of the twin boys? Are you asking for money?" That last question made Amale see red. She stepped forward before Seung-hyun could stop her. "I'm not asking for anything except for my sons to know each other. Seung-hyun and I were married. We had twin boys. We divorced and made a terrible decision to separate them. That's the truth. No scandal, no drama. Just two people who made a mistake and are trying to fix it." So-ra's perfect face twisted with anger. "Seung-hyun, who is this woman?" He stepped up next to Amala. "She's exactly who she says she is. My ex-wife, the mother of both my sons." So-ra's smile was ice. "Both? I thought you only had one child." "I thought so too. Until yesterday." The reporters were eating this up. Questions flew from every direction. So-ra grabbed Seung-hyun's arm possessively. "We should discuss this privately." "There's nothing to discuss. Ji-ho has a twin brother. His name is Lethabo. And Amali and I are going to figure out how to co-parent them properly." "Co-parent?" So-ra's voice went shrill. "You're engaged to me." "I know. So this woman means nothing?" Seung-hyun looked at Amali. Really looked at her. "She's the mother of my children. She'll always mean something." The way he said it made Amali's heart do something complicated. So-ra saw it too. Her expression went cold. "I see. Well then, I think we all know where we stand." She stepped off the platform, walked directly past Seung-hyun without looking at him, and got into a waiting car. The reporters went wild. "Mr. Cha, did you just break up with Han So-ra? Are you getting back together with your ex-wife? What about your company? How will this affect stock prices?" Seung-hyun's head of security finally showed up and pushed through the crowd. "Get them inside," Seung-hyun ordered. They were rushed into the building and up to his private office. The second the door closed, Amale turned on him. "What did you just do?" "I told the truth. You humiliated your fiancée in front of dozens of reporters. She was trying to erase you, erase our son's connection. I wasn't going to let that happen." "So you just ended your engagement?" "I don't know. Maybe. Probably." He sat down heavily in his chair. Amale paced the office. It was huge. One whole wall was windows looking out over Seoul. "This is insane. This whole situation is insane." "I know. Your company's going to suffer. Probably. So-ra is going to destroy you in the press. Most likely. And you're okay with that?" He looked up at her. "If it means my sons get to grow up together? Yes. I'm okay with that." She didn't know what to say. Her phone rang. "Thandiwe. Amale, you need to get back here." "Why? Are the boys okay?" "They're fine, but there are more reporters outside your building now. They're trying to get inside. Building security is holding them off, but it's getting bad." Amale's stomach dropped. "I'm coming." She hung up and looked at Seung-hyun. "The boys are at my apartment, and reporters are trying to get to them." He was on his feet immediately. "Let's go." "Your driver can't take me. They'll follow us." "Then we'll take a different car. I have a personal vehicle in the underground garage." They took his private elevator down. The car was nice, but not flashy. He drove himself. "You know how to drive?" Amale asked, surprised. "I learned after the company took off. Needed to feel like I controlled something in my life." They navigated through Seoul traffic while both their phones exploded with notifications. "So-ra just posted on social media," Amale said, reading her phone. "What did she say?" Amale read aloud. heartbroken to discover the man I loved was still attached to his past. I deserve someone who can fully commit to our future. I wish Seung-hyun well, but I can't be second to a ghost. A ghost? You're not a ghost. You're very much alive and sitting in my car. She's playing victim, making you look like you never got over me. Maybe I didn't. The words hung in the air. Amali looked at him. Don't say things like that. Why not? Because it's been 7 years, and we're different people now, and we're only doing this for the boys. Right, for the boys. But the way he said it made her wonder if he was lying. They got to her apartment building, and sure enough, there were twice as many reporters as before. We can't get in through the front, Amali said. Is there a back way? Yes, but they might have found it by now. Seung-hyun thought for a moment, then made a call. I need building security at this address. Private team, and I need them here in 10 minutes. He gave the address and hung up. You have a private security team? I'm a CEO of a major tech company. Of course I have security. Right, because this is your life now. 10 minutes later, 4 professional security guards showed up and cleared a path. They made it into the building and up to Amali's floor. Tundiwi opened her apartment door immediately. Thank God. The boys were starting to worry. Lethabo and Ji-ho ran out. Both of them froze when they saw Seung-hyun. Ji-ho spoke first. Dad? Hi, Ji-ho. The boy looked confused. You came. Of course I came. You never come when I call. The words were simple but devastating. Seung-hyun knelt down. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm going to do better. Ji-ho didn't move toward him, but Lethabo was staring at this man, who was apparently his father. You're tall, Lethabo said. Despite everything, Seung-hyun smiled. You'll be tall too? Do I look like you? You look like both of us. Lethabo processed this, then said, Mom cries sometimes when she looks at me. Is it because I look like you? Amala made a small wounded sound. Seung-hyun looked at her, and something passed between them. Probably, he said softly. The security team leader knocked on the door. Sir, we've cleared the immediate area, but more press are arriving. We should move everyone to a more secure location. Agreed. Seung-hyun looked at Amale. Pack bags for both boys. You too. We're going somewhere they can't find us. Where? I have a house outside the city. It's private, secure. I'm not going to your house. Mom, Lethabo said, can we please just go? I don't like all the cameras. Ji-ho nodded agreement. Amale looked at her son's worried faces and gave in. Fine. But just until this dies down. Seung-hyun nodded. Just until this dies down. He was lying. She suspected she was too. Because the moment they all got in that car together, the moment the boys sat in the back seat, holding hands while Amale sat in front and Seung-hyun drove, something shifted. It felt like a family. And that was the most dangerous thing of all. The house was an hour outside Seoul, tucked into the hills where trees blocked the view from the road. It wasn't a mansion. Seung-hyun had bought it years ago when the company's stress got too heavy. A place to disappear. He'd been there maybe 5 times. The boys were asleep in the back seat when they arrived. The drive had exhausted them. Seung-hyun carried Ji-ho inside, while Amale carried Lethabo. They moved quietly, carefully, like they'd done this 1,000 times before. Except they hadn't. Not together. Not in 7 years. The house was beautiful in a quiet way. Wooden floors, simple furniture, windows that looked out at the forest. There are 3 bedrooms upstairs, Seung-hyun said softly. Put them in the biggest one. They can share. Amale nodded and carried Lethabo up the stairs. The room had 2 beds already. She put Lethabo in one, then waited while Sung-hyun placed Jiho in the other. They stood there for a moment, looking at their son sleeping in the same room for the first time in 7 years. "They look peaceful," Amale whispered. "They look right. Like this is how it always should have been." She didn't argue because he wasn't wrong. They went back downstairs and suddenly the silence was heavy. "Are you hungry?" Sung-hyun asked. "Not really." "Me neither." They sat in the living room, on opposite ends of the couch. "So what now?" Amale asked. "I don't know. I've never been in this situation before." "Me neither. Usually I have a plan. You were always good at plans." "Was I? I don't remember that." "You had our whole life mapped out. Where we'd live, what we'd do, how many kids we'd have." Her chest tightened. "We were supposed to have 3. I remember. We barely made it through 2. We didn't make it through at all. We gave up." Amale pulled her knees to her chest. "Do you ever think about what would have happened if we tried harder?" "Every day." She looked at him, surprised. He was staring at his hands. "I think about it every single day. What if I'd gotten a better job faster? What if I'd asked my parents for help instead of being too proud? What if I'd told you I was drowning instead of pretending I was fine?" I pretended too. I acted like I could handle everything. The babies, the bills, the exhaustion. I didn't want you to think I was weak. I never thought you were weak. I thought you were the strongest person I'd ever met. Then why did you leave? Because you looked at me like I was failing you, and I couldn't stand it. Amala felt tears on her face. I never thought you were failing. I thought I was failing. I couldn't breastfeed both babies. I couldn't keep the apartment clean. I couldn't be the wife you needed. I just needed you. That's all. Just you. They were both crying now. "We were so stupid," Amali said. "The stupidest. We threw away everything because we were too scared to say we needed help." "I know." She wiped her face. "We can't do that again. For them. We have to communicate this time." "Agreed. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." They sat in silence, and it felt like something had shifted. Something important. Upstairs, neither of them knew that both boys were awake and listening through the floor vent. Lethabo whispered, "They still love each other." Jiho nodded. "They're just scared. We have to help them." "How?" Lethabo grinned. "I have an idea." The next morning, Amale woke up on the couch with a blanket over her. She didn't remember falling asleep. Sung-hyun was in the kitchen making breakfast, actually making it, not having staff prepare it. "You cook now?" she asked, surprised. "I learned, badly, but I learned." The kitchen smelled like burning eggs. "How badly?" "You should probably take over." She laughed and moved him aside. "Go sit down before you set something on fire." "I'm not that bad. You burned water once." "That was one time and the pot was defective." She was smiling, actually smiling. It felt strange and good. The boys came downstairs together, already whispering and giggling about something. "Morning," Lethabo said cheerfully. "You're both up early," Amale said. "We have plans," Jiho added. "What kind of plans?" "Secret plans." Sung-hyun raised an eyebrow. "Should I be worried?" "Probably," both boys said at the same time, then laughed. After breakfast, the boys disappeared outside to explore. Amale and Sung-hyun sat on the back porch with coffee. Your phone has been buzzing for 20 minutes, Amale said. I know. Aren't you going to check it? No. What if it's important? If it's about the company, my team can handle it. If it's reporters, I don't care. If it's so raw, I definitely don't care. She's going to make this difficult. Let her try. Amale's phone buzzed. She checked it, and her face went pale. What? Sohrab posted something else. She showed him the screen. It was a long post with photos. Photos of Sunghyun and Sohrab together. At events, at dinners, looking happy. The caption read, I stayed silent yesterday out of shock, but I won't be silenced anymore. Sunghyun told me his ex-wife wanted nothing to do with their child, that she'd abandoned him. Now she appears out of nowhere claiming rights to both boys? This is clearly about money. I tried to protect him from this gold digger, but he's too kind to see the truth. I'm sharing this because the public deserves to know who they're defending. She's lying, Amale said, her voice shaking. I never abandoned anyone. We had an agreement. I know. She's making me look like I threw away my child, and now I want him back because you're rich. I know, and I'm going to fix this. How? She has thousands of followers. They're going to believe her? Sunghyun took out his phone and started typing. What are you doing? Posting the truth. On your social media, you never post personal things. Well, I'm about to. He showed her what he'd written. Han So-ra is lying. I never told her my ex-wife abandoned our child because that's not what happened. Amale and I made a mutual decision to separate our sons when we divorced. It was wrong, it was cruel, and we both regret it. But it was mutual. She is not a gold digger. She raised our son alone while working multiple jobs and never once asked me for money. She is one of the strongest people I know, and I won't let anyone destroy her reputation to save their own. This is my statement, my truth, and my final word on the subject. You can't post that, Amale said. Why not? Because it'll make everything worse with Sohrab. I don't care about Sohrab, I care about you and our sons. He hit post before she could stop him. Within minutes, the comments exploded. Some people supported him. Some called him an idiot. Some said he was clearly still in love with his ex-wife. That last group wasn't wrong. Across the city, Sohrab read the post and threw her phone across the room. Her manager picked it up carefully. This isn't good. You think I don't know that? Public opinion is shifting. People are saying you manipulated the narrative. I did what I had to do. Well, it backfired. His honesty is making you look vindictive. So what do I do? Her manager hesitated. Apologize quietly. Step back from the spotlight for a while. Absolutely not. Sohrab, your brand is taking a hit. 3 sponsors have already pulled out. That got her attention. What? They don't want to be associated with the drama. She stood up, pacing. This is all that woman's fault. Actually, it's yours. You made this public when you could have handled it privately. Get out. Sohrab. I said, get out. Her manager left, and Sohrab sat alone in her expensive apartment, watching her perfect life crack apart. Back at the house, the boys were executing their plan. They'd found board games in a closet and insisted on family game night. It's not even night yet, Sunghyun pointed out. Family game afternoon doesn't sound as good, Lethabo said. Please? Jiho added. He rarely asked for things, so when he did, it was hard to say no. They played 3 games. Lethabo won 2. Jiho won 1. The adults were clearly distracted. Then Lethabo pretended to be tired. Can we watch a movie? Sure, Amale said. But we have to all watch together, on the same couch. There's plenty of room, Sung-hyun said. Not if we want to be cozy. The boys engineered it so Amale and Sung-hyun were squeezed in the middle with a boy on each end. The movie was some animated thing about a lost dog finding its way home. Halfway through, both boys pretended to fall asleep. Amale whispered, "Should we move them to bed? Let them rest. They've had a crazy few days." So they sat there, trapped by sleeping children, watching a movie neither was paying attention to. Seung-hyun's arm was along the back of the couch. Not around Amale, but close enough that she could feel the warmth. "This feels familiar," he said quietly. "What does?" "This. You, us sitting together. We used to do this all the time. Our couch was smaller. Our whole apartment was smaller. I miss that apartment sometimes." She looked at him. "Really? Not the broken heater or the neighbors who fought at 2 a.m., but the feeling of it. Like we were building something together. We were. We just didn't know how to finish building it. Maybe we could try again." Her heart stuttered. "Sung-hyun? Not the marriage, I'm not asking for that. Just maybe we could be friends. Co-parents who actually like each other. I'd like that." "Yeah? Yeah." They smiled at each other, and for a moment, it felt like being 22 again. Then Lethabo's eyes cracked open just slightly. He caught Jiho's eye, and they both fought not to grin. The plan was working. That night, after the boys actually went to bed, Seung-hyun got a call from his head of legal. "We have a problem." "What now?" "So-ra is threatening to sue for defamation. She says your post damaged her reputation and cost her sponsorship deals." "Let her sue," I told the truth. "It'll be messy, public, expensive. I don't care. The board cares. They're worried about company image. Tell the board I'm taking a leave of absence." Silence on the other end. "You're what?" "You heard me. 2 weeks, maybe more. I need to focus on my family." "Seung-hyun, you've never taken a leave. Not once." "Then I'm overdue." He hung up and found Amale on the porch again. "More drama?" she asked. "So-ra might sue me." "What? For what?" "Defamation. Apparently the truth is damaging to her image." "This is my fault. I should never have said anything to those reporters." "You told the truth. That's not your fault. Your company is suffering because of me. My company will be fine, and even if it's not, I don't care." She stared at him. "You built that company from nothing. You care. I built it because I thought success would make me happy. It didn't. Know what made me happy? Today. Playing board games with our sons, sitting on a couch watching a movie, talking to you like we used to. Seung-hyun, I'm not saying we go back to how things were. I'm saying maybe we build something new, something better." Before she could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered cautiously. "Hello? Malad Lamini?" A woman's voice. "Yes?" "This is Kim Min-ji from Child Protective Services." Amali's blood went cold. "What?" "We received a complaint that you're keeping a child that's not in your legal custody. We need to schedule a home visit." "A complaint from who?" "I can't disclose that. But we take these matters seriously. Jiho is my son. I have every right to have him with me. According to our records, custody was awarded solely to the father 7 years ago. That was by mutual agreement, not a court order. Regardless, we need to verify the child's safety and living conditions." Amale was shaking. "When?" "Tomorrow, 10 a.m. I have your registered address. I'm not there right now. Then you need to be, or we'll be forced to remove the child from your care. The line went dead. Amale dropped the phone. Seung-hyun caught it. What happened? Sora. She called child services. They're coming tomorrow to take Ji-ho away from me. She can't do that. She just did. Subscribe if you want to see how this family fights back, because what happens next is going to shock you. Hit that button and let's finish this together. Seung-yeon was on the phone immediately. His lawyer, then another lawyer, then someone else. Amale sat frozen. We can fight this, Seung-hyun said. We have options. They're going to take him. I just got him back and they're going to take him. No, they're not. Because we're going to fix the custody situation right now. How? Courts take months. Not if both parents agree. We can file emergency joint custody. I'll sign whatever needs to be signed. You'd do that? Amale, he's your son. He should have been with you all along. She started crying. Relief, fear, gratitude all mixed together. Upstairs, the boys were listening again. What's happening? Lethabo whispered. Someone's trying to take me away from her, Ji-ho said, and his voice cracked. We won't let them. How do we stop it? I don't know, but we're brothers. We'll figure it out. By morning, Seung-yeon's lawyers had prepared emergency custody papers. Both parents signed. It wasn't permanent, but it was enough to show child services that this wasn't a kidnapping situation. They drove back to Seoul together. Reporters were still camped outside Amale's building. Let them take pictures, Seung-hyun said. Let them see us together as a family. They walked in together, all four of them. Seung-hyun holding Ji-ho's hand, Amale holding Lethabo's. The cameras went crazy. Mr. Cha, are you back together with your ex-wife? Are you keeping both children? What about your company? Seung-hyun stopped and faced them. I'm going to say this once. My priority is my family. Both of my sons, their mother. Everything else is secondary. Does that include your company? Yes. Your engagement? That's over. Why? Because she tried to hurt the people I love, and I don't make the same mistake twice. Amale squeezed his hand without realizing she'd taken it. They went inside and waited. The social worker arrived exactly at 10. She was kind but professional. She looked around the small apartment, asked questions, interviewed both parents separately. Then she asked to speak to Ji-ho alone. Amale's heart nearly stopped, but she agreed. In the bedroom, the woman sat down with Ji-ho. Hi, Ji-ho. I'm Miss Kim. I just want to ask you a few questions. Is that okay? Okay. Do you feel safe here? Yes. Has anyone hurt you or made you uncomfortable? No. Do you want to be here? Ji-ho looked at her seriously. I've wanted to be here my whole life. I just didn't know it existed. Ms. Kim wrote something down. What do you mean? My dad's house is big and nice, but it's lonely. Here is small, but it's warm. My mom makes breakfast and asks about my day and tucks me in at night. I didn't know parents did that. Your father doesn't do those things? He's always working, but he's trying now. He came here. He's helping. I think he's learning too. And your brother? Lethabo? Ji-ho smiled for the first time. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. Ms. Kim smiled back. Okay, Ji-ho. Thank you for talking to me. She came back out and spoke to both parents. I don't see any cause for concern. The child is clearly well cared for and happy. However, you need to formalize the custody arrangement legally. This temporary agreement won't hold up long term. We're working on it, Seung-hyun said. Work faster. Because if someone calls us again and there's no legal custody in place, we'll have to act differently. After she left, Amali collapsed on the couch. That was terrifying. It's over now. Until Sora tries something else. She won't. How do you know? Because I'm about to make sure of it. He made one phone call. I want a restraining order. Han So-ra is not to contact me, my children, or their mother. If she does, I'll file harassment charges. He paused. I don't care if it looks bad. Do it. He hung up and looked at Amali. Done. Just like that. Just like that. The boys came running in from the bedroom where they'd been hiding. Is it over? Can Jiho stay? Lethabo asked. He can stay, Amali said. Both boys cheered and hugged each other. But, Sing-hyun added, we need to figure out a real plan. For custody, for living arrangements, for everything. I want to live with both of you, Jiho said quietly. Me too, Lethabo agreed. The adults looked at each other. That's complicated, Amali said. Why? Lethabo asked. People do it all the time. We're not together anymore. So, you don't have to be married to both races. He has a point, Sung-hyun said. We can't just move in together. That's crazy. Is it? Crazier than what we've been doing. She didn't have an answer for that. Over the next week, they fell into a rhythm. Sung-hyun got a smaller apartment closer to Amali's building, not because she asked him to, but because he wanted to be near the boys. They did joint custody the right way. Breakfasts together, dinners rotating between apartments, bedtimes where both parents were present when possible. It was messy and weird and unconventional. It was also the happiest any of them had been in 7 years. The media slowly lost interest. There were new scandals to chase. So-ra disappeared from the public eye after the restraining order was filed. Her career took a hit, but she'd recover. People like her always did. Sung-hyun's company stock dipped for 2 weeks, then stabilized. Turns out investors cared more about profits than personal drama. One night, 3 weeks after everything exploded, Amali and Sung-hyun sat on her tiny balcony after the boys were asleep. I've been thinking, she said. Dangerous. She smiled. I'm serious. About what? About us. About this. About what we're doing. What are we doing? I don't know. That's the problem. He turned to look at her. Do we need to define it? Eventually, yes. The boys are going to ask questions. What do you want to tell them? I don't know. What do you want? Honest answer? Always. I want another chance. Not to go back to who we were, but to be something new. Something better. Her heart was racing. Sung-hyun, I know it's fast. I know we have a lot to work through. I know I hurt you and you hurt me, and we have 7 years of damage to undo. So, why would we even try? Because I never stopped loving you. I got engaged to someone else. I built a whole life. I convinced myself I'd moved on. But I was lying. I've been lying for 7 years. Amali felt tears coming. I loved you too. I still do. But love wasn't enough last time. Because we didn't have the other things. Communication, trust, partnership. We were kids who thought love solved everything. And now? Now we're adults who know love is just the beginning. The real work is everything that comes after. Are you saying you want to try again? Actually try. I'm saying I want to date you, properly. Take you to dinner. Talk about our days. Learn who you are now. Let you learn who I am. While co-parenting? While co-parenting. That's complicated. Everything about us is complicated. She laughed through tears. When did you become so wise? Around the time I realized I'd thrown away the best thing that ever happened to me and spent 7 years regretting it. That's quite a realization. So what do you say? Will you date me, Amala Dlamini? She pretended to think about it. I have conditions. Name them. We go slow, really slow. The boys come first, always. Agreed. We go to therapy, together and separately. Already scheduled. You did not schedule therapy. I scheduled therapy. First session is next week. She stared at him. You're serious about this? Completely. And if it doesn't work, if we try and it falls apart again, then at least we'll know we tried. Really tried. Not like last time. She took his hand. Okay. Okay. Okay, let's try. He smiled, and it was the smile she'd fallen in love with a decade ago. Soft and genuine, and just for her. Inside, 2 boys were peeking through the window curtain. They're holding hands, Jiho whispered. Told you the plan would work, Lethabo said smugly. We did good? The best? They high-fived and went back to bed, grinning. 6 months later, things were far from perfect. There were hard days. Days when old arguments surfaced. Days when Amale worried they were making a mistake. Days when Seung-hyun worked too late and had to remember his priorities. But there were more good days. Days when all 4 of them cooked dinner together and burned the rice but laughed about it. Days when the boys performed elaborate plays they'd written and forced their parents to watch 3 times. Days when Seung-hyun showed up at Amale's apartment with flowers for no reason except he was thinking about her. Days when Amale texted him drawings she'd made and he saved every single one. They went to therapy. They fought and made up and learned how to communicate. They set boundaries and respected them. They built something new on the foundation of what they'd broken. It wasn't the love story they'd had at 22. It was better. Because it was real. 1 year after the photo went viral, on the boy's 9th birthday, both families gathered at a park for a party. Amali's friends from South Africa, who'd become her soul family. Seung-hyun's mother, who'd apologized 100 times for not stopping the separation. Colleagues and neighbors and the boy's friends from school. It was loud and chaotic and perfect. Lethabo and Jiho were inseparable now. Different in personality, but completely bonded. They finished each other's sentences and had their own language and fought like brothers, but loved each other fiercely. At one point, Seung-hyun found Amale standing alone, watching the party. What are you thinking about? He asked. How different this is from their first birthday. Don't go back there. I'm not. I'm just grateful we get this now. He put his arm around her waist. She leaned into him. I have something for you, he said. It's the boy's birthday, not mine. I know, but I wanted to give you this. He handed her a small wrapped box. She opened it carefully. Inside was a key. What's this? A key to a house. You bought another house? We bought a house, if you want it. What? It's big enough for all of us. 4 bedrooms, so the boys can each have their own space, but choose to share when they want. An office for you to do your illustrations. A yard. It's 15 minutes from here, so you don't have to leave your neighborhood. Seung-hyun, I can't afford a house. It's not about affording it. It's about us making a decision together. About building something together. Really together this time. Are you asking me to move in with you? I'm asking if you want to try being a family. A real one? Under one roof. She looked at the key, then at him, then at their sons laughing with their friends. The boys don't know yet. I wanted to ask you first. If you say no, that's okay. We keep doing what we're doing. And if I say yes? Then we take the next step. She closed her hand around the key. I'm terrified. Me too. What if we mess it up again? And we fix it. Together. That's what we do now. She kissed him, soft and sweet and full of hope. Yes. 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 Let's go home, all of us. He picked her up and spun her around, and she laughed so loud the whole party turned to look. The boys ran over. What's happening? We have news, Amale said. Good news? Jiho asked. The best news, Seung-hyun confirmed. We're moving, Amale said. All of us. Together. Both boys screamed and jumped and hugged their parents and each other. Does this mean you're back together? Lethabo asked. Seung-hyun looked at Amale. What do you think? I think we're figuring it out. That's good enough for me, Jiho said, and it was good enough for all of them. 3 months later, they moved into the house. It wasn't huge, but it was theirs. Every room had input from all 4 of them. The boys decorated their shared bedroom with glow-in-the-dark stars and posters of their favorite athletes. Amale's office had perfect lighting and space for all her supplies. Seung-hyun had a small office too, but he used it less. He'd learned to leave work at work. They had family dinners every night. Sometimes burnt, sometimes takeout, always together. They had movie nights where everyone picked the film once a month. They had arguments about chores and homework and screen time. They had normal problems. Beautiful, ordinary, normal problems. One night, after the boys were in bed, Amale found Seung-hyun on the back porch. What are you doing out here? Just thinking. About? About how 7 years ago I thought my life was over. I thought I'd failed at everything that mattered. And now? Now I realize I was just early. The good part hadn't started yet. She sat next to him. We lost a lot of time. We did. But we have time now, and we're not wasting it. No, we're not. He took her hand. Amale? Yeah. Thank you. For what? For giving me another chance. For being brave enough to try again. For loving our boys enough to put them first even when it was hard. You did all those things too. We did them together. That's the difference. She rested her head on his shoulder. I love you. I love you too. Inside, the house was quiet and warm. 2 boys slept peacefully, finally complete. 2 adults sat together, finally healing. It wasn't the ending they'd planned 10 years ago. It was better. Because they'd learned that some love stories don't end. They just pause, waiting for the people in them to grow brave enough to start again. And when they do, when they choose each other again with full knowledge of the cost and the work and the risk, that's when the real story begins. Epilogue 2 years later, on a Saturday morning, Seung-hyun woke up to complete chaos. Lethabo was yelling about someone stealing his favorite shirt. Jiho was calmly explaining that he'd borrowed it, and it was in the wash. Amale was trying to mediate while simultaneously burning toast. It was loud and messy and imperfect. He'd never been happier. Dad, tell him he can't just take my stuff, Lethabo complained as Seung-hyun came downstairs. Jiho, ask before you borrow, Seung-hyun said. I did ask. You said yes. I'm not Lethabo. You look exactly like him. How was I supposed to know the difference? We don't even sound the same anymore. That was true. As the boys got older, their personalities had shaped even their voices. Lethabo was louder, more animated. Jiho was quieter, more measured. Both of you, set the table, Amale called. Breakfast is almost ready. The burnt toast is almost ready, you mean? Jiho teased. I will put you up for adoption, Amale threatened without heat. Too late. You already chose us. Lethabo grinned. They sat down together, all four of them, at the table they'd picked out as a family. Sung-hyun looked at Amale across the table. She had paint in her hair from working late last night. She was wearing his old shirt. She was beautiful. She caught him staring and raised an eyebrow. He mouthed, "I love you." She mouthed back, "I know." After breakfast, the boys ran outside to play. Sung-hyun helped Amale clean up. "I have something to tell you," he said. "Good something or bad something?" "Good. I hope. Just tell me." He took a breath. "I want to marry you again." She dropped the dish she was washing. It didn't break, but it was close. "What?" "Not right now. Not tomorrow, but someday. When you're ready. I want to marry you again and do it right this time." Sung-hyun, "I know we said we'd take it slow. I know we're still figuring things out. But I'm sure about this. About us. About forever." She was crying. Happy tears this time. "Ask me again in 6 months." "And you'll say yes?" "Ask me in 6 months and find out." He kissed her, and it tasted like burnt toast and coffee and home. Outside, the boys were kicking a ball around. "They're going to get married again," Ji-ho said. "How do you know?" "Dad's been carrying around a ring for 3 weeks. I saw it in his drawer. And he hasn't asked her yet. He's waiting for the right time. There's never a right time. He should just do it." "Maybe we should help." Lethabo grinned. "Operation Parent Trap Part 2? "Absolutely." They high-fived and started plotting. Inside, their parents were still kissing, completely unaware of the schemes being planned. Some things never changed. And honestly, that was exactly how it should be. "Before you go, I need you to do something for me. If this story made you feel anything, if it made you believe in second chances, if it reminded you that broken things can be healed, hit that subscribe button. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Comment and tell me what you think happens next for this family, because their story isn't over. It's just beginning. And I want you here for all of it. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.